Hello and welcome. I am Jessica. It looks like I never left my parents' house, but I did in fact go back to my house and this winter storm came through. So I am back here and I decided to make some Funfetti bagels for my best friend's little girl, which is basically like my little niece, and she's just the most precious thing in the whole wide world. So grab some sprinkles. I'm gonna try bagels again. I've been working on bagels, trying to get them perfected. I will be using the Zojirushi bread machine for this. However, you don't have to have a bread machine to make your own bagels. You can mix it by hand, or if you have like a mixer, a Bosch or a KitchenAid or whatever, there's so many different types of mixers, a little blender, handheld blender, whatever you want to use. And they're just so good. I think they're so much better than bagels that you buy in the store. So we're gonna get this going quickly because it is getting really cold outside and I don't want to have to drive to take these over there once it's below 20 degrees. So we're gonna get these in, get them started. This recipe calls for 1 1/3 cups of warm water, and I will link this recipe below and also link a recipe that isn't a bread machine recipe. 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt, and then it calls for 3 cups of bread flour. And honestly, I think the bagel recipe is so easy. I mean, it really is just a few ingredients and that's it. Now, I do think the complicated part is obviously if you do the baking soda bath, which does give the exterior of the bagel that kind of waxy texture that you're looking for. But other than that, it really is pretty simple to make bagels. All right, 3 cups, and I'm just going to make sure all the edges of my liquids are covered, and I'm gonna make a little well for my yeast. And then it calls for 2 1/2 teaspoons of instant yeast or bread machine yeast. And then that is it. Everything is in the bread pan and we're gonna put it in the Zojirushi and do the dough cycle that has a rise. So not the quick dough, just the basic dough. And then once it does where the add-ins are, it's like a click. I'll try to not a click, it's a beep. On the KBS, it is a click. On the Zojirushi, it's a beep and it'll say add, and then I'm going to add in the sprinkles to give it that funfetti confetti look that she loves sprinkles. So I think she's gonna love these. So I'll get these going, and then my dad and I are going to run to the gym while these do their thing. That's what's so great about bread machines is you can kind of sit it and forget it. And I love being able to do that. Even though I love making bread other ways, this is just kind of the most convenient and easy. So going to get this in and get it started. You want to hear the 2 clicks, plug it up to turn it on. And if you want to see the full Zojirushi review, I'll link it below. I'm gonna select basic dough. So basically 2 hours. All right. Okay, I know this is not much to look at right here, but my sister's friend sent us a chocolate banana bread. And let me see if I can open up and show you. And it is so good. And I have asked him if he cares if I share the recipe with you guys, and he said that's fine. So coming soon, this chocolate banana bread, which is so good. It is moist, it is rich, it is dark chocolate, it is so good. So definitely subscribe for future videos if you want to see the chocolate banana bread. Okay, so this is kneading. I don't have time because we're about to go to the gym for me to wait for the beep, and it'll say add right here. I'll insert a picture, but I'm going to go ahead and pour the sprinkles in. All right, the sprinkles are in. I really hope this is going to turn out good. Now I do have a little clip from a previous video that I'll show you just so you hear the beep. Okay, you hear it beeping? I hope you can. And it says add, so we know. Once your dough is finished from in the bread machine, you're going to want to get a baking sheet lined with parchment paper, and also go ahead and get your water boiling on the stove with baking soda. Then you can pull out your dough, which I have to say, this dough was so cute. Once I saw it, I got so excited because I just knew my friend's little girl was going to love these. So I pulled out my OXO scale so that I could weigh the total amount and divide it by 8. And I love this scale so much. I've said it in so many different videos, but you can pull the display out and it just makes it so convenient to be able to see your numbers if you're working with like a larger plate or a larger bowl. So anyway, you're going to knead your dough a little bit, then cut your dough into 8 equal parts if you want, normal size bagels. If you want a larger, obviously you can cut them into 6, and if you want it a little bit smaller, you could cut them into 10 or 12. Then you will want to actually make your bagels. And there are two different ways you can do this after you make your dough ball. You can punch a hole in the middle with your thumb and actually kind of twist the bagel around your fingers, creating that hole on the inside. The other way is to actually roll it out into a long stick and then combine the two ends to create the bagel. There are pros and cons to both. When I punched the hole in the middle, I found that the bagel hole wasn't big enough. When I boiled it and baked it, it kind of came together. So if you're going to do it that way, just make sure that you are creating a large enough hole. Then if you are going to do the dough stick and combine the ends, my ends did not connect great. As you'll see when I go to start boiling, it came apart, which was fine. They tasted fine, everything worked out. But if you are going to do the stick and combine it, you really want to make sure that those two ends are together really well. Then I covered my bagels and let them sit to rise before we do the boiling. The recipe said it could sit for 15 minutes to an hour, and from my understanding, the longer it sits, the softer the inside of the bagel is going to be. So while I was letting my bagels rise, I went ahead and made my cream cheese filling, and all I did was soften a half a stick of cream cheese. I crunched up some dehydrated strawberries that my mom had, and then I put about a tablespoon of honey. And this made enough cream cheese for 4 bagels. So I will try to change the measurements when I write this below in the description so that there's enough for 8 bagels. Also, I love the color of this cream cheese, and it tasted phenomenal. It was nice to have like a cream cheese with that kind of color and that kind of taste, but no artificial coloring. So delicious. Highly, highly recommend. And you can get dehydrated strawberries from the grocery store or Target or anywhere like that. After making the cream cheese, my water had come to a boil, and it was time to do the baking soda bath for the bagels. Now for this, you are going to want to boil the bagels on each side for about 30 to 45 seconds, flipping in between and making sure that both sides get that 30 to 45 second boiling. This is going to give your bagels that really chewy exterior, but it allows the middle of your bagels to stay good and soft. Also, be really careful because you're working with boiling water. You do get pretty close when you're putting the dough in and when you're flipping it. In fact, when I flipped it the first time, it sprayed water everywhere, which was not good. So I definitely had to change how I was flipping my bagels. But once they were flipped, you're just going to put it back on the parchment lined baking sheet, and then you put it in the oven to bake. And as always, I will link the recipe below. It has all the information. Then once you're finished baking, you pull them out and put them on a cooling rack and let them sit. And I can say these were so delicious and so cute. They're some of the best bagels I think I personally ever made. Not only did my friend's daughter absolutely love them, but my entire family thought they were also the best bagels that I had ever made. I think I'm gonna try to do like a big batch one day and freeze some of the bagels so that, we just have some fresh bagels to pull out of the freezer easily. And what I do is I just throw them in the microwave for 15 to 20 seconds and then cut it down the middle and toast it. Super easy and just great to have. I also think these are really great because adding the sprinkles, you can really change the color of the bagel to suit whatever holiday season you're doing. So Valentine's, you could do pink and red, Christmas green and red, Halloween orange and black, St. Patty's Day green. I mean, the creativity that you could do with these are endless. And my friend's daughter loved them so much that they actually ended up making more together later on in the week. And it was just a really fun activity for her to be a part of. And she got to decide which sprinkles. It just overall turned out great. Anyway, I hope you do try these and love them as much as we did. Make sure to subscribe to see upcoming videos, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.